Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke chapter 9, verses 22 to 25. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. Jesus went on, "It is necessary that the Son of Man proceed to an ordeal of suffering, be tried and found guilty by the religious leaders, high priests, and religion scholars, be killed, and on the third day be raised up alive." Then he told them what they could expect for themselves. "Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You are not in the driver's seat, I am. Don't run from suffering, embrace it. Follow me and I will show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to finding yourself, your true self. What good would it do to get everything you want and lose you, the real you?" The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to Luke chapter 9, verses 22 to 25. The apocrypha of the Acts of St. Peter narrates a story of Peter running away from Rome when faced with the increasing persecutions in the city. Peter and some other early Christians decided that it would be best if he left Rome and continued his work elsewhere so that he would escape the threat of persecution. As Peter was fleeing Rome, feeling confident that he was doing what was the best for him and for the early church, he had a life-altering encounter with Christ. Peter had the vision of Jesus walking back toward the city. In pure shock and confusion, Peter asked, "Quo vadis Domine?" which means, "Where are you going, Lord?" Jesus answered him, "I am going back to Rome to be crucified a second time." To understand today's gospel better, we should understand the situation in which Jesus makes this prediction about his suffering and death. Peter had just proclaimed his faith in Jesus as the Messiah of God, but his understanding of the Messiah was totally different from the truth. The similar texts of the synoptic gospels will tell us that Peter could not accept a Messiah who would suffer and finally be killed. His understanding was of a triumphant Messiah who would establish his kingdom, and Peter and his companions would occupy important positions there. Our faith in Jesus is sometimes like that of Peter and his companions. It is difficult to believe in a God who suffers rejection and death. And it does not stop there. Jesus says, "If anyone wants to follow me, has to take up his cross daily and follow." Who does not want to preserve his life? Self-preservation is an instinct. Jesus in the gospel reminds us that a life spent focused only on ourselves and our self-advancement is ultimately a recipe for self-destruction. The only way to live is, like Jesus, to offer our lives for others in love, in caring, in solidarity, in compassion, in justice, because these are the nature of God. When we fail to show this nature of God for our suffering brothers and sisters, we forget that it is the Lord Himself who suffered injustice, rejection, and persecution. Like Peter, who was fleeing Rome, we try to run away from sufferings and pains, rejections and discriminations. In this Lenten season, would you mind to stop a while before Jesus and raise the question, "Quo vadis Domine?"